Welcome to the Wizards of Ecom, your no-fluff playbook for online success. Each episode is fully packed with actionable tactics you can implement in your business right now. Take your life to a higher level and excel in your online success. It's time to work on you and your business. Let's do this.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Wizards of Ecom. This is your host Naomi, and today I have none other than the amazing Aleksejs Leal. Alex, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Noemi. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you for accepting to be part of this again. Last time I invited you because somehow you talked about a topic that is super, super important, yet not so many people are talking about, which is risk mitigation and also like diversification in e-commerce. And as we were talking about, these are the main topics that today's episode is going to be about, simply because, first off, there's not so much about this topic outside of the e-com space, or everyone is talking about Amazon, everyone is talking about OA, RA, so on, but no one is really talking about what it takes actually to make a successful business. So this is why I think it's a super, super helpful topic to talk about. Also, to give you a short intro about you and who you are. You are my co-host of, not my co-host, but my host of my sister show, or our sister show. Can I call it mine? Wizards of Español. Wizards of Español.
Wizards of Ecom en Español.
Correct. And you're also a co-organizer of Wizards of Ecom in Spanish. And the reason why I wanted to have you, especially on the show, is because you, even if you're very, very successful and you've grown like tremendously, you own several businesses, 25 businesses, you understand not only e-commerce, but business in general. I think it's super important to have someone like you on the show to guide us. First off, understand what it takes to really mitigate risk and to diversify when it comes to e-commerce. So first off, I will give you the opportunity to talk about, first off, mitigate.
Yeah, I did few presentation in different spots. One was here in Miami, the other one was in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. So it was about diversification and mitigating the risk. So diversification, those two things were main things for our success in all of our businesses. You know, it really made our business unshakable. I like that word, unshakable. Because we all know in any business, in any industry that we are, there's a lot of ups and downs, okay? Mm-hmm. It depends how you have your business structure. It's how you're going to survive in those downs, you know, because we all can do well when everything goes well, but it all depends how you have everything structured when things go down, okay? So that's why diversification, let's start with that. So diversification for me, it's not only diversify into different platforms. You also diversify into different categories. You diversify into different models. To give you more details, let's say platforms: Amazon, eBay, Shopify, Mercado Libre. You know, those are different marketplaces. Now it's even more. You have Facebook Marketplace, you have OfferUp, you have, you name it, you know, it's Etsy. So it's important to be on all of those platforms. Okay, that's one. Second, different categories. My main category is supplements, but I do sell some electronics. I do sell some groceries. I do sell some toys. I do sell some, different categories, you know. I do have my main one, and my main one platform, it is Amazon. But again, if anything happens with any of my main channels or my main category, I can still survive, you know. I do sell on Shopify, which I think it's amazing right now to be on. So I also diversify into different models. I do arbitrage, I do wholesale, I do private label, I do drop shipping, and my main one is wholesale. Okay, but again, something happens with my wholesale business. I do have my private label. I do have arbitrage, you know, and I understand that at the beginning, maybe that's not the right way to start. Okay, I do not recommend anybody starting doing all of those things. Okay. But if you're already growing and you already have some sort of a success, I think it's important to start diversifying yourself into those models, into those platforms, and into those categories. Okay. So yeah, that's my part of diversification. Okay. Like I mentioned, again, I'm even in Mercado Libre, which is the biggest South America marketplace, and in Colombia, in Mexico. Just being in those markets, anything happens to here in the United States, which I hope that's the least, of our worries. I do have those markets to live off, and that happened. I mean, when I decided to start diversifying so much, it was when it happened to our Amazon store. Our account got shut down. And I would say, I don't know, 99% of our business were just in that platform. And it was so terrible for us. It was really, really bad. And that what makes us think that, that's not going to happen again. We did survive, we did move on, but I cannot, all my business partners, we have decided that we're never going to put all our eggs in one basket. Okay. So that part is covered. I don't know if you have any questions about the diversification.
You just gave me like 10 questions now. Yes. So it's interesting that you were saying, okay, I will diversify not only the products I'm selling, like categories, but also the platforms. And I also will make sure that I want to depend on one platform. So here, I assume that to be there, you started still somewhere. And in this scenario, it was Amazon, as you were saying, that you started on Amazon and then you started to diversify. Now, let's say it's an Ecom seller that maybe it's a new seller or intermediate seller. He's already on Amazon successfully selling well, let's say $1 million per year. When do you see is the right moment for you to diversify? First off, the first question. And the second one, which platform would be the best to choose?
Okay, so if you are in Shopify, of course, the best second one is going to be Amazon, or vice versa. If you are on Amazon, I think the best next one is going to be Shopify. You should have your own website. And right now, Shopify have so many tools and so many ways to grow your website that it's amazing. Okay. I think it's becoming very, very competitive with Amazon. At what point you should start diversifying? I think at the point when you have processes in place for one of your channels. When you cannot disconnect anytime, but it can at least run by itself, that you have time to sit down and start learning the other channel. That's when, you have to always learn and update yourself on the current one, because that's never going to stop, because we know how, let's say, my main one is Amazon, and I always have to be on top of new things because it's always changing. But I do have processes in place. I have a team, I have process, I don't have to do everything, like when you start. And we all know when you start, you do everything. So when you already have a team that can do most of the things, then I think you can dedicate yourself and start learning the other platforms.
Got it. Brilliant answer. And I think it's super interesting that you mentioned, okay, you have to have a process in place. Otherwise, it's going to be so hard. I think for our listeners, because most of my audience are like beginners or beginning sellers, they might face the same issues that I face. So just to share there, I think that one of my mistakes here, as you were saying, having processes in place, I didn't have the clear process in place, but I was like attracted of all the other sales channels, and then I felt overwhelmed because one process didn't work well for one channel, so this is a super huge takeaway. super huge takeaway of, yes, okay, if you're selling now on Amazon, just make sure that the process is there. Then as Alex was saying, okay, go to Shopify, let's see how this works. Go to Walmart, see how that works, and then build up on top on that. I love that you said that. Are there any questions?
Exactly.
Are there any questions that here I should be like, okay, processes, is there anything that someone should be aware of, that they should know? Okay, I have processes in place. What else do they need? You were mentioning a team. Does it depend on, I assume also it depends on the business model that you're going to do your team?
I mean, in any model that you're going to do, you're talking about models of selling, like wholesale, private label.
Exactly.
I mean, in any model that you're going to do, you need a team, you need processes in place, and I think, I mean, you do arbitrage, you can have a process in place that works, it runs by itself, it can sustain by itself. You do private label, wholesale, any model you do, you can create a process that it can run and grow by itself. Okay. I mean, I'm still not at the point, and I wish I could. And I think I'm still maybe missing some information to be able to create such a process that I really can hands off. I wasn't be able to get at that point yet. But at least I do have a lot of processes in place that I can dedicate myself to learn other platforms, to start getting engaged into other categories, and be able to handle all the models at the same time.
Do you have any favorite software when it comes to processes, or how do you usually manage those?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Do you have any specific software that you use for processes, or how do you usually manage those?
I don't have any software for processes. We know, to give you an example, for wholesale model, you need product research, you need accounting, you need account manager for the Amazon, you need a warehousing, those steps that you need. The good thing about, once you have one of the models mastered, the other one becomes easier, because you already have a lot of processes in place, and you can leverage that process, just adding another model, just adding another channel, and leverage that process already. You don't have to recreate. There will be some things that should be new, but you don't have to recreate a lot of processes. I mean, it depends what you're going to do, but recreate a lot of processes, because you already have some foundation of your main one.
Got it. Brilliant. So in order for someone to become where you are now and really to diversify in this scenario, they know that, okay, first off, understand what processes are, how do they work, what team do you need on board, and then just go with the will of God.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant. All right. So is there anything else that I should ask about this topic, or should we move on to the mitigating risk next section?
I think we cover pretty much everything. I mean, the topic, it's pretty big. We can talk more about it, but I think the main things are covered. You should diversify. You should get into different categories, but you have to make sure, which was a great question by you, the time you do it. You cannot do it at the beginning. You need to master one channel. You need to master one category, one model, and then once you're already at the point that, you can, your model can sustain, or your category can sustain by itself, then you can start looking into other channels and other categories.
Brilliant. All right. So mitigating risk. First off, why does it matter to mitigate risk, and how should one know where to start when it comes to mitigating risk?
I love that topic. I love talking about it. A lot of people don't like it much, because it's kind of contradicts of what success and how can I say that? Yeah, success comes with, because everybody says that you have to take risk. You know, a lot of people, successful people, always talking about it. They need to take risk. And I totally agree that you need to take risk. But the formula that is a lot of people missing, they need to take smart risk. Okay. How you take smart risk? You mitigate your risk. Okay. You have to understand your business and your operation and how much risk can you take. Okay. I'm going to give you an example.
Sure.
A lot of times I give that example. Let's say you are in a wholesale business. And again, it can be implemented in any model. But let's say you're in a wholesale business and you have this great deal. Okay. There's a brand that want to sell you $200,000 worth of inventory. The margin is 20%. It's $40,000. Let's do it. No, that's not how you do it. You know, that's what a lot of people do. That's not calculated risk. That's not mitigating anything. You know, you need to understand if your business, okay, can sustain if something happens. Okay, let's say you bought that product and you cannot sell that product anymore. And you have now $200,000 worth of inventory that you cannot sell. And it can be so many reasons. We know how Amazon is, okay? So it can be a listing get blocked, your inventory got lost, I don't know, you name it. Or a brand became exclusive with Amazon. So if you don't calculate your risk, okay, and you don't understand your operation, you can be out of business, okay?
Yeah.
Some people, for some operations, maybe $200,000, it is big deal, but they can survive. They can, you know, they just digest that. They can keep operating. They put that in their P&L loss, and they keep going. For some people, it's completely nightmare. They just have to fire people, close down the business, okay? And a lot of people make that mistake, believe it or not. And I give you a really big amount, but there's people a lot of people came up to me and saying, listen, this Amazon business, it's no good. I don't want to do that business. I just lost all my money. It's not worth it. It's like, okay, tell me your story. Well, what happened? Well, I had $20,000. I found a good product. I bought it, and Amazon blocked my listing. They retained my inventory, and I couldn't do anything. And just like, okay, that's you didn't do any analysis. You know, it was risk, but stupid risk. It was a smart risk. You didn't calculate. First of all, if you're just starting a business and you put in all your money in one product, it's like just getting into stocks and you're just gonna put $20,000 with random stock that you don't even know who they are, and then you lost money. And it's like, yeah, that's doesn't work. No, first of all, you divide those $20,000. You buy maybe one product of $2,000, the other product $1,000. You put some money in your bank to have some cushion in case something happens, so you can run the business, you know? So that's what mitigating the risk for me is. So when I see the deal, I analyze it, and it can be a big deal, it can be a small deal, and see what happens if I cannot sell that product, you know? And that can be with private label as well. What happens is if your listing gets shut down or your account gets shut down, what's going to happen with your business? No, I'm going to be out of business. Then you're taking stupid risk. You're not taking smart risk. You should have other channels to sell. You should have a way of getting rid of the inventory. I mean, there's liquidation, there's other channels like eBay, Shopify. You need to have all that covered, you know? So that's my, again, that's one of the things that I'm always, and it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot analyzing like this, because once it happened to us, and it was $200,000. That's why I put that number. And it was one of the products that the brand became exclusive with Amazon. Okay. And we thought we're getting a great deal. And, everything was well. And then one of a sudden, all of our listing became inactive, just like that. And imagine you had $200,000 worth of inventory. So thanks God, we had other channels. It took us a long time to sell those products, but we kind of would be able to digest it, and run with it. But it was very hard. My other next analysis, when I buy products, I'm making sure that that's not going to happen to me. If I'm taking the risk, I want to make sure the risk is minimized. It's very, very minimized. What happens if I cannot sell the product? What happens if the price goes down? There's, I think the main thing in the business to make a good business, it's when you make a purchase, when you buy. That's when you do a business. Yep. It's not when you sell, it's when you buy your inventory, when we are in the product business. So that should be your main analysis. I think everyone should always analyze that. And again, don't get confused with a lot of people saying taking risk, because there's so many people were put out of business because they took crazy, not analyzed risk. Okay.
So there to ask, because like I love it that you mentioned that it's you make your investment when you buy, not when you sell. And I also agree with that. Definitely, it's also what we are like living by. And maybe when we started, also we didn't we were very analytical people. So for us, that was something natural. It's funny that I think if you like right at the beginning, before selling, like 2 years ago or something like that, you were asking, like you need this money right away, and my answer was no, it's if we're losing it, and that's it. And it was funny that you asked me that, because I as you were saying, most people are not thinking that way. And it's interesting that you say that risk is actually, it has to be calculated rather than just go for it, because most of the time what I see, and I was smiling if you are watching this, like I was smiling when Alex was saying that they are unsuccessful at some point and they are losing their money. Sometimes what happens is also they are winning, and then they think that they know what they do, and they are aggressive even more, and then they're losing even more, which is yet again, it's even a worse scenario there. So here, would you we were giving super, super good advice, some specific tips that, let's say me as a seller, I'm just thinking of taking seriously, like risk taking and risk management. What should I do first off with, let's say that I am already selling, like as many of our listeners are already selling. Maybe I'm not at 6-7 figure, but I'm just started. Like, how could I think in order to think like you already, who already lost and gone through all this process, and be successful at mitigating risk?
Well, in your case, that you're a private label, okay, there's a lot of also moving parts in your process. So it's how much money you spend in the marketing, how much money you invest in inventory. You always need to calculate that risk, because there is just at some point that you need to start analyzing that more and more. I mean, for example, you need to buy certain product or your product at X amount of money, X amount of cost, where you need to buy, I don't know, 100,000 units, just to give you a number.
Yeah.
And to get that cost that you want to have, and you're going to have a great margin, you're going to have a great sales and all that, but it's worth it, worth the risk taking buying so much inventory upfront in your operation. You know, you need to understand your operation. Can you do that? Should you do that? If your operation can do it, you can take a risk. If something happened with that inventory, then you do it. But if you know that if something happens with that purchase or with that product that you just cannot sell anymore, then you shouldn't do it. That shouldn't be your option. There is more options. You know, you always have to explore other options that you have when you have less risk. Okay. There's always one. There's always one. You just need to brainstorm. You have to keep analyzing and find a way. Okay. Don't say, oh, this is the only way. That's the only way I have be able to compete. This is the cost that I need, and this is how much I need to buy. No, find a way. Maybe you can just start breaking even and start increasing your sales and making sure that the amount that you're gonna buy will really sell out. You know, so yeah, that would be my answer for your example.
Yeah, great. That's a great answer. I think the first three things that it's coming to mind is like, what do you see most besides everything that we talked already about? What do you see three of the most common mistakes that newbie sellers are making when they are starting? We were talking about, first off, taking too much risk that is not calculating. What else?
Very great question, and that was many times people ask me that questions, and I always give same answer. People try to run, you know, they try to start making sales. They want to start making money right away. They run, and when they start running without knowing how to even walk, they start making big mistakes, and those mistakes end up being fatal. You know, again, I know bunch of people. There's a lot of people coming to me asking me, you know, I start selling the product. I did this, I did that. My account gets suspended, and now it's like, and I was telling them before it happened, because I can foresee, you know, that can happen to you if you're gonna keep doing that.
Yep.
But people wanna, because they see a lot of people selling those numbers, millions of dollars, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. So they want to be there now. In my case, I've been in this industry 8 years to get where I'm at. And people just starting, they already want to be where I'm at. Maybe you're lucky and you can do it in 1 year. You know, there is people that can do it, but it's very small percentage. Very small percentage. You need to understand the whole process, how it works. It's a business, you know, like any business. You cannot expect. I mean, it is a business that you can make money right away. I'm not saying that, but depends on the money that you're counting on. You know, people want to start making crazy amount of money, crazy revenue. No, it's a process. It's a process, you know, and that's the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest mistake people make. Doesn't matter what model you are, what category you are, what platform you sell, they all want to do it now. They want to have those numbers now, and they're gonna make a lot of mistakes. They're gonna cost them a lot. They're gonna have to start from zero again. And from zero again. The good thing, you can always adjust and be able to start again, you know. But if you gradually, little by little, you know, learn, there is some people that are being patient and they have amazing rewards, you know. And there's just, I would say, I don't want to give a years because it's very hard. It depends on the person. But I would say after like 2 or 3 years, I would say 3 years, that you really start seeing big difference, you know. And it doesn't matter what industry you are, what products you sell, what platform you use. It doesn't matter what business you are. Mm-hmm. After 3 years, when you really start seeing difference, and progress, a lot of progress. And after 5 years, you start seeing, you start becoming an expert in what you do, after 5 years. But don't expect to do it in 6 months or even 2 or 3 months. There is people that really expecting that, because maybe they were in the other business and they already know everything and they just want to do it now. And no, it's not like that. So yeah, that would be my answer to your question.
I love that you said that it's like these few last episodes, I tried to make them as like raw as possible. And it's like, yeah, this is really like what's happening. Most people are just coming into, it doesn't really matter which type of ecom business, but they just come in and they have the expectation to grow and to be successful, right away. And I really appreciate that you said, hey, it's a process, and people don't understand it's a process. And first off, it can also be that it's a process and you might do everything right and you're still not there, So it's
it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating, and I totally understand. And you're gonna make a mistakes, and you're gonna fall, and you're gonna step back sometimes, but it's part of the learning curve. It's a part of the game.
Yeah,
you have to go through that. You have to go through that. You think I don't make a lot of crazy mistakes? I did.
So rather make the mistakes on a small amount of money if you're going to start, rather than or it depends how much you can afford,
But that's the thing. That's why I like that topic. You need to understand in what level you are in the business. You cannot risk $20,000 if that's the only thing you have.
Yeah.
You need to you need to put 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 so you can start playing and understand the process. But people I want to put $20,000 right away. That's the only thing I have in it, and I'm gonna double it.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. You can lose it all.
Yeah.
Maybe you're lucky and you're gonna double it, but believe me, it's gonna catch you. You're gonna do it again, and it's gonna hit you. So yeah.
Are there any like tips or action that someone can take right away after listening to the podcast? Because you were mentioning if you have like 20,000, just put away 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Do you have like percentages, or how do you make sure that like I check that box that everything gets mitigated? Like for example, in your business, and because like mainly our audience is private label, how would you advise them?
So for private label, first of all, I'm always like, it doesn't matter what model you are. First of all, I always like to test the product, With the private label, it's a little bit different, no? But wholesale, arbitrage, drop shipping, you can always test the product. You may not get the cost you need at first to test the product. You maybe break even, maybe lose a little bit, but you test the product, that's part of the cost. And it's all good, then you repurchase the product, So my advice is, if you have an MOQ, do MOQ for that product. Again, it depends on MOQ, no? But let's say it's 1,000 units MOQ, or if it's $1,000, buy that, see how it goes. It's all good, then maybe double your order. If it's all good, then triple your order or double it again, then look for another product. Don't put everything in one product. Get another product, and keep incrementing and increasing your catalog. Again, in any model you're doing, private label, wholesale, or arbitrage, the more products you have in your catalog, the more diversified you are. Okay, that's also help you to mitigate your risk. And once you're ready, get the momentum going, because it's all about getting the momentum as well. You start understanding more the category that you are, the industry that you are, start getting more and more information, and involving yourself more and more with people, surrounding yourself with people that sell same category that you are, that are in the same industry that you are, informing yourself. And patience. Be patient. That's Again, that's very important, to be patient in this business. And Amazon, it's very, very, how can I say that? It can be painful, you know. Amazon, I really suffer. It really hurts me when I see people that they just starting and they get their account suspended, you know, because I know how much it costs to get reinstated. And maybe they're gonna get lucky and they submit their POA and they get reinstated, but maybe they're not, you know. And nowadays it's even harder to get reinstated because Amazon putting more and more regulations and policies and the way they want to see the POA, and you know, they want to have a lawyer reading that thing, you know. And the person that just started, that they want to flip two products and it happens to them, that's it, game over.
Yeah.
You know. And believe me, I see a lot of people like that, because right now it happens to me. Yeah, it's going to cost me a lot of money, but I'm going to hire right away. I'm going to pay somebody. They're going to do it. I'm going to get my account reinstated right away. No problem. You know, I'm already used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody just starting and that happens to them, you know, it's really, it's hurting. You know, I really feel the pain of the people, frustration. And that's why I'm always telling them, you know, slow down, you know, understand everything, what you want to do, what model you want to do, understand the platform, see what, you know, what's good, what bad, listen what people say, what happens to them. You know, try to mitigate as much as you can, you know. And yeah, at the same time, I'm saying that, but I know also people, but they're so scared that they do nothing. You know, they maybe sell few products and that's it, because they're so scared if something happens. I don't support that neither. You know, at some point you need to keep pushing yourself and keep growing and keep expanding your business, you know.
Yeah.
So I think there should be a balance, and there should be, I don't know the time exactly. It depends on a person, I think. But there should be a point in the beginning, you know, the beginning part. It should be in the middle, that you know that you're in the middle, and then in advance and expanding and growing and pushing yourself, you know. That's a process that you shouldn't skip, you know, but you shouldn't stop neither. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I think that you are like the value that you're giving now, you don't even realize. Most of the time, what I see people happening, either they don't have patience with themselves or with how fast they're growing their business. And most of the time, this is what's actually going to destroy them. Not necessarily that they lost money, not necessarily that, but the whole process itself, that they cannot realize, like here inside, you know, their brain, they cannot realize that I have to have patience with this because this is totally new, you know. So I really like appreciate that a lot what you are saying. There is a beginning, there is like intermediate stage, and there is like, but how do I scale, you know? And I think that most of the time also this is why people are not really getting the gist of how to mitigate things, how to diversify, because they're going to be overwhelmed, you know. They're very overwhelmed. Yes. And they have to do this. They don't have processes in place, and then it's like the sky is falling down, you know. So yeah, I love that you said that. It's super important.
And when I'm saying when I mention diversification, I always telling people, whoever starts, it's not the way to do it. You don't diversify when you start. You focus on one thing, you know, one platform, one category, one product. And once you are at the level, like I told you, with the processes, then you can start doing that. You know, it's very important, because like you said, if you're going to start doing all of those things, it's going to be so overwhelming that you're not going to be able to do anything well. I mean, because it's so much. You can be a genius, a hyper genius. You're not going to be able to do it because it's too much. You know, it's too much.
And I love that you said that you can be a genius. Also, this is like very much like system thinking. Most of the time, we're not thinking like it has to be a system in place, but we have to do everything and then we have to figure it out and so on. And I love that you said, hey, I have a team who are like great, and they're in place and they're helping me, and you might be the brain behind everything, but without having the proper system, the proper understanding of how to mitigate things and okay, when can I grow? Because diversification, this is what like growth, right? You're growing in a like on horizontally as well. So
Yes.
I think that this episode shared way more wisdom that I was expecting, which is I'm super, super thrilled about. Because most of the time, as I was saying, most of the time, yes, we are selling stuff, we are selling ideas, we are selling this is the way, but like mindset and all that we are now. I will say also that we are part of the book club. I am also part of the book club. But really,
Thank you for coming last time. Appreciate that.
It was really, really interesting. And also this month I'm going to come. So yay.
Awesome.
But what I wanted to like allure that idea, it's really a mindset game, because most of the time that's where we lack. Like it's not knowledge, it's not expertise, it's not all that, but mindset. So today's topic was way more about mindset and about understanding yourself, I think, rather than diversification and mitigating risk, which actually it's mindset.
But it's a whole combo, you have to understand that the business, it's just like your life. It's have to be balanced out, and again, those two things really help my business to survive downs, ups. It's always good, downs, because there was a lot of things that we had to handle and do, and because we were using these two things, mitigating and diversifying, we will be able to survive. Because believe me, if we wouldn't have it, those two things, we wouldn't survive the business. Everything would just go and broke out. So and today I'm still using those things. I'm still implementing them, and always have them in my mind. Whatever business I do, and again, personally, I'm diversifying personally so much. I do have my main things, but I diversified it and I'm mitigating. To give you an example, I start Airbnb business now, and I'm buying multiple properties, and I'm always mitigating my risk. What happens if I cannot do Airbnb with that property anymore? I'm gonna be able to survive, Yes, I can do long-term rentals. I can cover with long-term rentals the mortgage payment, and I'm gonna be able to survive. I'm making sure that, I'm diversifying into different cities, different properties, always using that analogy in any business I do.
Brilliant. Alex, to be super respectful of your time, and also I know that you will have to leave to another meeting within a few minutes, I will ask only for one thing. One of your favorite books, and why do you love it?
Well, I mentioned to you my favorite book, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you remember that book.
Robert Kiyosaki.
And yes, Roberto Kiyosaki. I really like the book. I think it changed my mind when I read it, and I was very young. I think when I read it, I was like 20. So I read the book when I was 20, and I bought my first property when I was 21.
Oh.
I did lost it after. I lost the property after in 2008 when everything crashed. But I did it. That book inspired me so much and changed my mind, the way I was thinking. Right now, I have a different mind already. I'm much more advanced. I'm much more focused, But at that time, I was very young, being 20, I think it's difficult, an immigrant in a country that you don't have a lot of friends or not even understanding the language well. It was challenging for me. So there was a lot of, I would say, choices, good choices and bad choices in life and decisions that you can make. And this book helped me to make good decisions, you know. And of course, after that, I started reading other books with the same collection, the Roberto Kiyosaki collection. And all those books, I like them. But the one that really impact me was that one, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And the one who recommended that book actually was my dad. And I'm never going to forget, because he read it. He told me it's a really good book. And I asked him to lend it to me. And he said, no, you have to buy your own book. Because if I give it to you, the probability that you're not going to read it are higher than if you actually go and spend your money. At that time, I hate him so much for that. But now I understand, you know. And he told me to go and buy the book. And I actually bought the book with my money. I read it and I loved it. So,
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that from now on, I would ask only for one book and will ask my guests to be like very detailed, because see, I wouldn't have known exactly like, okay, you actually tried it out, and also like the story with your dad. So it's super, super meaningful. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me, Noemi. It's always a pleasure. And I love being in your show, because I always expand my thinking. And I hope whatever we talk today will impact and help people.
Amen to that. Alex, how can people get a hold of you before you're leaving first?
Well, if you can spell my name, the best way to find me is it's Instagram. The way you spell my name is Aleksejs. If you know how to spell it, you're going to find me anywhere. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. You just need to figure out to spell my name. And because that's the only name in the whole United States. So I feel unique.
You are. No need to feel only. You are unique. Brilliant. Thank you once again for being part of the podcast. And thank you everyone who still listening to us. Please keep in mind, yes, mindset is important. So be aware of that, and hope to see you back next Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.
It was fun sharing this episode with you. If you found value in what you've heard, please show your love with a subscribe, rate, and review of the show. Until next time.